In the 1920s, fashion had a body count. Your favorite hat was cured in a bath of liquid poison. It started with a twitch, then the hatters' shakes, then the screaming started inside their heads. Welcome back to the Silent Archives. I'm your host. Today, we're unboxing the Mercury Madmen. This is nitrate of mercury. It made the fur soft and the human mind completely uninstalled. The price of style was sanity. Let's look at the archive file for fur 1. Let's go.
To turn stiff animal fur into soft felt, hatters used a process called carroting. They brushed pelts with an orange solution of mercury nitrate. As it dried, the mercury turned into an invisible, odorless gas. Workers spent 12 hours a day breathing a neurotoxin that was slowly rewiring their brains for total system failure.
Orange fur and a melted brain? Talk about a killer look, literally.
The first symptom was the Danbury Shakes. It started in the fingers, a subtle tremor making it impossible to hold a fork. The workers joked about it at first, calling it the jitters. They didn't realize their central nervous system was being physically dissolved by the silver mist they inhaled every single morning.
Early onset vibrations. Nature's way of saying your warranty has expired.
Mercury doesn't just make you shake, it changes your face. Victims developed the Hatter's Mask, a permanent, vacant stare combined with a metallic red tint to the skin. Their gums turned black and their teeth loosened in their sockets. You could tell a hatter just by looking at them across a crowded street.
Free dental work and a permanent tan. Too bad about the black gums, though.
Then came Erethism. This was the psychological glitch. Men who were once calm became pathologically shy, prone to explosive rage or overwhelmed by hallucinations. They would cower in corners if a stranger looked at them, convinced the walls were watching. The mercury was deleting their personalities and replacing them with fear.
Anxiety, the ultimate 1920s fashion accessory, highly limited edition.
Just like the 1952 smog, the environment was the weapon. In Danbury, Connecticut, the water supply became so saturated with mercury runoff that the fish began to swim in circles until they died. The city wasn't just making hats. It was brewing a toxic soup that poisoned every man, woman, and child in the area.
A town where even the fish have a mental breakdown. Standard industrial procedure.
Danbury produced 5 million hats a year, but the factories were death traps. The air was so heavy with mercury vapor that a silver coin left on a table overnight would turn white by morning. The workers were walking barometers, absorbing enough liquid metal to kill a horse. Yet the factories stayed open for decades.
If your pocket change is changing color, you should probably quit your job. Just a thought.
As the poisoning progressed, it hit the legs. Hatters developed a stumbling, jerky walk known as the Hatter's Gait. They looked drunk even when sober. Because of this, many were arrested for public intoxication when they were actually suffering from irreversible brain damage caused by the hats on their own heads.
Arrested for being poisoned. The 1920s really were a different vibe.
Mercury is a mirror poison. It accumulates in the brain and stays there. Decades after a hatter left the factory, the mercury remained in his skull. During autopsies of former workers, doctors found that their brain tissue actually had a metallic sheen, shimmering under the surgical lights like the very hats they made.
A shiny brain, finally a way to look expensive on the inside.
On hot days, the factories were literal gas chambers. The heat caused the mercury on the drying racks to vaporize faster, creating a mercury storm inside the workspace. Men would faint from the fumes, wake up, and go right back to work, unaware that every breath was shaving years off their life expectancy.
Indoor weather, cloudy with a 100% chance of neurodegeneration.
It took until 1941 for the United States to officially ban mercury in hat making, not because of the workers, but because the military needed the mercury for detonators in World War II. The government finally cared about the poison only when they needed it to kill people in a different way.
We don't care if you're crazy, as long as the bombs go boom. Priorities.
Lewis Carroll's Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland wasn't a fantasy. It was a reflection of a brutal reality. Carroll saw these men in the streets of England, trembling, paranoid, and talking to themselves. He turned an industrial tragedy into a whimsical character, masking the horror of mercury poisoning for generations.
Turning a workplace hazard into a tea party guest. Classic PR move.
Long after the factories closed, the buildings remained hot. Even in the 1970s, researchers found mercury beads trapped in the floorboards of old Danbury hat shops. The buildings were literal ghosts, exhaling poison decades after the last hatter had died. The archive never truly closes. It just waits for a new victim.
The floor is lava? No, the floor is liquid neurotoxin. Much worse.
It wasn't just the men. Workers carried mercury dust home on their clothes. Their wives and children began to show the same shakes and black gums. An entire generation of families in factory towns was systematically glitched by the fashion industry's refusal to switch to safer chemicals.
A family heirloom nobody wanted. Permanent nerve damage.
When the industry tried to modernize, they used steam curing. They thought the steam would wash the mercury away. Instead, it just made the poison easier to inhale. It was a software patch that actually made the virus spread faster, proving that industrial progress is often just a faster way to die.
A patch that breaks the whole system. Sounds like a modern OS update.
Erethism didn't just cause shyness. It caused vivid, terrifying hallucinations. Workers reported seeing silver insects crawling on the felt or hearing voices coming from the drying ovens. The mercury was creating a VR simulation of horror inside their own minds that they could never turn off.
Free horror movies playing in your head 24/7. Worst subscription app.
The black line on the gums was the Hatter's brand. It was a physical manifestation of mercury sulfide depositing in the tissue. It made their breath smell like rotting metal and made every meal taste like blood. Their bodies were becoming chemical waste sites while they were still alive.
Breath so bad actually has a chemical signature. That's a hard no from the archive.
Hatters tried to sue for hatters' consumption, but the courts often ruled in favor of the owners. They claimed that the workers were just alcoholics or naturally nervous. It was the ultimate gaslight, convincing a dying man that his symptoms were his own fault rather than the poison he was forced to breathe.
Gaslighting, the preferred legal strategy of the 20th century.
Mercury poisoning isn't a ghost of 1922. It still happens in small-scale gold mining today. The Danbury Shakes are still claiming lives in South America and Africa. The silent archive isn't just history, it's a live feed. The system is still crashing. We just changed the location.
New map, same glitch. Humanity never learns.
We look at 1920s hats and see elegance. But the archive sees the silver mist, the trembling hands, and the black gums. Every fashionable era has a hidden foundation of industrial horror. 12,000 dead in London, 50,000 poisoned in Danbury. The math of style is always written in red.
Beauty is pain, but usually it shouldn't involve your brain melting.
The Danbury Hatters were the ghost girls of the male working class. Forgotten men who traded their sanity for a felt brim. Their bones might be silent now, but the mercury in the soil still screams. The file is open, the warning is clear. Don't lose your head over a hat.
Keep your hat on. Or don't. Honestly, maybe just stick to beanies. The Danbury Hatters, men who traded their minds for a felt brim, a systemic collapse of the soul. We call it a fairy tale now. But the archive remembers, Mercury is forever. Is your fast fashion safe? What's a modern poison we're all ignoring? I'm reading the archive files now. Vaulting this file. Stay curious, stay toxic. See ya.